Hi everybody, this is Tim Todd with Select Homes. Today, welcome to our second installment of the Real Estate Today video blog. Today we're going to be talking about a different type of real estate, the type of real estate that the top NFL quarterbacks and high-power offenses are going to be covering each Sunday in the NFL with the start of the NFL season upon us. Hopefully, Philip Rivers and the Chargers offense mainly. Today our guest is Darren Bennett. Darren, how are you? Good to see you.
How are you, mate?
All right, thanks for joining us.
Hey, no worries, thank you. Thanks for asking.
As I'm sure all know, Darren spent 11 seasons with the Chargers. A season or 2 seasons with the Vikings?
Yeah, it's, well, 1.5 with the
1.5 with the
yeah.
Vikings. Prior to that, was it 12 years in Aussie rules football?
Yeah.
Exactly. So, Darren's also working with Rock 105.3 on the game day broadcast for the San Diego Chargers.
Yep.
And so I thought, what better person to talk to than Darren about, what's going to happen this season. He's got all the answers as far as, your Super Bowl picks, and he can just name your pool picks all through the season. So here we go. What's going to happen, Darren? Start off with the Chargers. What's your impression of what's going on there?
Yeah, look, with the Chargers, there's been a bit of a tumultuous off-season. They had a couple of free agents hold out, Vincent Jackson and Marcus McNeil. Obviously, we're still missing Marcus on the offensive line through pre-season, but we've shored that line up. A couple of young guys, Brandon Dombrowski's come in and started playing left tackle. So hopefully the experience he's had in the pre-season will allow him to protect Philip. We paid Philip $90 million in the off-season. We're hoping that he stays on his feet for this whole season. So, it's going to be a big season. I'm really excited. The first game of the season, how could you start any better than Kansas City on Monday night in Arrowhead? I mean, it's a terrific rivalry and a great place to start the season.
It's funny because when you and I were together at the Chargers, you'd go to any of the stadiums throughout the country. Kansas City, for some strange reason, was always my favorite place to go because they're so into it. And when they say, they do the national anthem in the home of the Chiefs.
I know, it used to annoy me. It used to really fire me up. I was talking about it last night.
Exactly.
So it's one of those stadiums. It's probably the loudest outdoor stadium in the league. They got in trouble for pumping, crowd noise back through the speakers a couple of years ago.
That's right.
It's, but it is one of those places. If you can win in Arrowhead, no matter what the Chiefs' record is, no matter what the Chargers' record is, if you can win in Arrowhead, it's always a great achievement because it's always a loud place to go and play. So it's hard for your offense to work.
Yeah. I think that game will obviously tell us a lot about where we're heading and what the team's going to look like. I guess from my standpoint, I worry that as a great team and a team that's playoff bound every year, is there a window that closes and are we missing that opportunity because we've had so many great seasons and we just haven't got there? My gut tells me no. I think that window's still open for us, and it'll be interesting to see with the departure of LT how it changes the dynamic of the team. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, look, bringing Ryan Matthews in I think is a plus. I think LT needed a new start somewhere. He's gone to the Jets. I think he'll have a great season up there at the Jets. I just feel like, as with me when I was finished at the Chargers, I knew my time was over, and I think LT knew that too. Philip Rivers has really developed into one of the great quarterbacks in the NFL right now, and I think he's at a point of his development as a leader and as part of this team, as part of this offense, where he's really starting to take over. And so I think the loss of LT will be taken over in the leadership role, particularly by Philip Rivers. I think the loss of Vincent Jackson, I don't think we'll miss Vincent. I think AJ Smith decided to move on very early in the free agent process. Legadou Nane's really developed this year, Malcolm Floyd. I think Buster Davis, I think, and picking up Patrick Creighton from Dallas has been a huge plus for us. I had a mate who punts at Dallas. As soon as he was traded to the Chargers, he texted me and he said, Phil Rivers is going to love Patrick Creighton. So I think our wide receivers are taken care of. Obviously with Antonio Gates, we've got those short passes taken care of at the court with the tight end. As long as we can protect Philip, I think we'll be fine.
Right. Okay, so I think you and I are both going to agree we're going to chalk the AFC West up to the Chargers.
I'm not going to chalk the AFC West up to them right now. I think, it's always, you want to get 3 or 4 weeks into the season and see. Kansas City's obviously, they've reunited Charlie Weiss and Romeo Crennel from the old New England days. Both those guys were fantastic in the development of New England as a franchise.
Right.
And so, you've got Castle there, you've got a lot of New England parts at Kansas City. They're trying to create an elite franchise. Will it happen this year? Personally, I don't think so. I think the Raiders are better this year than they were last year, just because they've got a quarterback that'll throw to Raiders players. I think
that's right.
Jamarcus Russell was a difficult, choice as far as draft picks. He just wasn't a great quarterback. And Denver, you never know what you're going to get out of Denver. There's 3 good quarterbacks up there. Any one of those guys can start. I feel like there's a little bit of confusion because of Tebow being up there, whether they'll have him start or whether they'll stick with Kyle Orton. Either way, I'm not sure that Denver is really going to be a big part of this. But I'm not going to give the Chargers the AFC West until 3 or 4 weeks in, and we see what sort of Chargers team we have, what Kansas City team we have, what Oakland Raiders, and also what Denver team we have.
Okay, so staying with the AFC,
yeah.
Who do you think are the powerhouses?
You know, this is the interesting side of the coin for me. Obviously, Indianapolis is going to still be strong. They've got Houston this year and Houston this week. And, you know, Matt Schaub, he's got to step to the next level as a quarterback. He was traded across there to go and take hold of that franchise, and they were right on the edge last year. You know, everyone talks about them taking that next step this year. They've got great wide receivers over there, Andre Johnson, those sort of guys, you know, so we'll see. For me, I think, you know, Houston's always one of those bridesmaids. They're always knocking on the door, but never quite there. And then it'll be interesting to see tomorrow night, you know, Atlanta Falcons versus Pittsburgh. That'll be a big test for both those guys. I think Matt Ryan's got to step up. He had sophomore blues last year at quarterback, and Dennis Dixon starting for Pittsburgh. I think it's going to be that's to me, Pittsburgh is a because of the whole Roethlisberger thing. They're in disarray a little bit. Yeah. They've got a terrific coach there, and he's going to pull those guys into line. But to lose your starting quarterback for 4 weeks to start the season doesn't set you off on the right foot. So it'll be interesting to see how Pittsburgh goes this year.
Okay, got it. And then on the NFC side, you know, obviously we've got the Saints, who are coming off their first championship, and then the Minnesota Vikings. They're going to meet up early in the season. What are your thoughts about the AFC in general?
Yeah, well,
I'm sorry, NFC.
NFC.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure when the blog's going on, but you know, obviously this is Thursday right now. We've got New Orleans and Minnesota tonight.
Yeah, this won't be out there. Won't be out by then. But
so you guys will know what the result was. We don't.
Are we going to come up with the result?
Well, that's one of the things that I'm really interested to see.
Yeah.
You know, will New Orleans take the emotion that created that wave of support last year that pushed them? I felt like they were the team of destiny last year. You know, there was no one going to beat New Orleans. There was a couple of games there where they were, you know, out of the game. They came back, kicked a field goal to win the NFC Championship game. I think it's that's one of those things that you know, it's hard to recreate that emotion. Sure. Brett Favre, I think, you know, coming back to the Vikings obviously makes him better than Sage Rosenfels and Tavares Jackson. But I still think there's questions about his ankle. I don't think he's 100% healthy. Not a good thing to go into against the defense who hurt your ankle in the game last year. So I see New Orleans winning that this year tonight. And you know, you guys will know. I'll either be a goat or
you're going to either look good or bad.
Yeah, one of the two. You know, some of the other teams in the NFC. Be interesting to see what Pete Carroll's doing up in Seattle. Are they a team that's really going to push in the NFC? No. The NFC North, I think, is the most interesting part. You know, of all the divisions in the NFC. Green Bay is really, you know, with Rodgers, I think, has really stepped up. And both Detroit and Chicago have done big things in free agency. You know, Detroit went and got Van den Bosch this offseason. They went and got Nate Burleson, who I played with at the Minnesota Vikings, who is a tremendous wide receiver. It'd be interesting to see how Stafford goes in his second year. And then Chicago, they picked up Julius Peppers, who was the biggest free agent in the offseason. So they're definitely both committed to the pass rush. Will it make them contenders for the NFC North? I don't think so. I think it's if Favre stays healthy, it's out of the Vikings and the Packers. But that, to me, is going to be the most interesting division in the NFC.
Well, listen, I want to go in a couple different directions. Right now, where we're sitting in AthletiCuts. When you came back from Minnesota, you had retired from football. You kind of wanted to go do something different, right? And so tell us a little bit about AthletiCuts.
Yeah, AthletiCuts was a sort of thing, it was owned by my chiropractor, JJ Hevelin. He started this business, he built this business, and when he was building it, you know, I was sort of helping him with the concept, just bouncing ideas off each other. I really liked the business, and I said to him, look, one day if you franchise, I would love to buy a franchise off you. I think it's a great business for me to be able to use my name here in San Diego and allow you know, people to know a place where they can come and have a chat to me about what's going on in the football season. I'm coaching over at La Costa Canyon this year at the high school with William, my son, and so a lot of our kids come in here, get their hair cut, and we talk football. You know, it's a great place to meet. You know, we've got the big screen TVs. People watch the game in here all the time. a lot of people come in and watch. They'll come in half an hour before they get a haircut, watch the games or whatever. We've always got sport on in here, and the kids play video games where they get a haircut. So it's a lot of fun. We enjoy it.
And there's a location here in Encinitas and then also in Escondido as well.
Correct. Yeah, we're on El Camino Real, corner of El Camino Real and Encinitas Boulevard, just across from Ralph's and Trader Joe's. So,
okay.
And then over in Escondido, we're East Valley Parkway between Home Depot and Albertsons. So, 2 locations, and both of them a lot of fun to go to.
Okay, good deal. You mentioned Will, one of my favorite people in the world. I know he's had a lot going on.
Yeah.
And go into that a little bit. Tell us what's happening with Will these days.
Yeah, my oldest son Will has Duchenne muscular dystrophy. This year he's a freshman at La Costa Canyon High School. The head coach, Sean Sovacol, came to me this off-season. I was watching flag football. Came up and asked me if I'd like to coach. And I said, look, I will coach if Will gets a chance to coach as a freshman. Obviously he can't play the game, but he loves it and knows the game. And so he's been coaching over there since May this year, and the guys have really embraced him and taken him on. There's sometimes at night practices he doesn't come with me because he's tired from the day's games, and he sort of grills me for what happened at practice. He's a big part of it. He knows a lot about football, and when he makes comments to my kickers and punters, they're actually his kickers and punters. They take on what he says because he's not full of a lot of advice. So when he says something, he knows what he's talking about.
Good deal. Tell us a little bit about the coach. Do I have a right coach for a cure?
Yeah, so it's a thing that Parent Project Muscular Dystrophy is doing. They've done it for 2 years. There's a lot of high school and college coaches. On the 25th of September, depending on what day your game is, but that weekend, coaches will wear a patch with coachforacure.org. People can make donations, and all the money goes towards research to find a cure for Duchenne muscular dystrophy. It's a terrible disease, and we live with it every day. And the sooner we find a cure for it, the better it'll be. Will's got surgery coming right now to have a rod installed in his back, just because he has pretty bad scoliosis and it's very uncomfortable for him and he can't breathe properly. So it's one of those things, if we can find a cure, a lot of that stuff will be avoided.
Okay, got it. Well, I did mention in the onset that it's a Real Estate Today blog.
Yeah. What's going on with
so
real estate, Tim? You're my real estate guy. What's going on?
Bring it back to real estate and just tell people watching. You when you left Minnesota 4 years ago, you chose Carlsbad as your home. Tell us a little bit about living in Carlsbad and living this Southern California dream.
We lived in Solana Beach when we went to Minnesota, before we went to Minnesota. When we came back, the real estate market had jumped so much here. Solana Beach wasn't really affordable as a family place, and so we chose to come further north to, we're sort of north Encinitas, south Carlsbad. It's a tremendous place. The schools here are fantastic. La Costa Canyon's the high school. My son Thomas goes to Degano. There's Oliva Name Pioneer and Mission Estancia are the elementary schools in our area. The great thing about where we live is we're about half a mile inland, and so when that marine layer sits right on the beach there, we sit in blue sky, and it's not too hot here, so we really like the climate here. It's a very family-oriented neighbourhood. We live in a cul-de-sac where there's a lot of kids the same age as our kids, so there's always stuff to play, kids to play with, and they're always out in the street, and very social. I think that the school district is extremely supportive of someone like William.
Yeah.
He has a great aide, Tate Sanderson, who's a rock guitar guy from Encinitas, but he's been his aide now for 4 years, and so we feel that this is our home. I'm about, actually next Monday I have my citizenship interview, so if any of you don't want me to be a citizen, call the Department of Immigration, but to become a citizen.
By the way, we're not going to provide a number for.
No, that's right. So Rosemary and I are taking citizenship because we feel this is our home and this is where we'll live forever now. And I feel like within about 2 miles of where we are is where we'll always live.
That's great. Well, listen, I've taken up a lot of your time. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for sitting down with us today, and have a great season at Rock 105.3. Yep. And I gotta say it, go Chargers, man.
Go Chargers. Yeah. Look, all the stuff we say about the Chargers is just analysis, but we really want.
Good seeing you.
Good on you.
Thanks.
Mate.